Nikki Dorde Mediation. So I wanted to talk you briefly through flower reading. So what would usually happen is flower readings, if you've ever done any work in, it's usually used in spiritualist circles, actually church circles, but like ribbon reading, it is, you're either kind of telling the characteristics of a person that's come through, connecting to it using the flower, or answering a question, which is more psychic work. So I have some flowers downstairs, I don't know which one this is, and I pulled this stem off. So the first thing you can say is that actually if you're talking about a person, you would look here and go, well actually perhaps there's a certain amount of hierarchy on here. I took this one off the lower branch. And they're also quite, it reminds me of a family structure where even though the central of it isn't very strong, there's a lot of kind of branches off. So if you're talking about a member of their family, you'd say perhaps they're lower ranked in that group, maybe younger in that family structure or whatever structure it is, but actually there's quite a few, and even that one's one by itself, that one's got a few buds coming up. This one is, as you go up, the cluster is closer, and this one was further down. So I thought I'd put that down. So I picked this one. As you can tell, it's very thin compared to the main stem, but the main stem isn't huge. You would look at, this is quite busy for a plant as well, so there's quite a lot, you could see that there would be buds from all of these coming through. So there's, whatever it is, it's lots of, whether it's, lots of people or lots of things going on, because obviously it can be describing somebody as well. So if you look here, you've got quite a few buds. Now you go up and you've got a few, and then here you've got some, as you go up they're more closely connected, which makes me feel very much like a kind of a hierarchical structure. Now the colour is another one, so you can probably see it there. To me it's lilac. Lilac makes me think of the higher chakras. So if I was looking, it still makes me think of communication, but if you're, maybe the question was asked about who somebody is, or you might say, actually they're very intuitive, or they're very serene and peaceful, go for peace versus arguments. And there's some innocence in these. These look like daisies to me, and daisies make me think of innocence. So a lot of these things are kind of personal. How do we feel about colour? I like this colour. It's very kind of pale. It feels very serene. But you can Google what colour lilac actually represents. But I would go, actually, it's serene, it's peaceful, and it's very open, the flower. So if you got a flower that was like a rose was shut, or even a lily was shut, then you would say that perhaps you couldn't see things, maybe things are hidden, or they haven't come to fruition just yet. Whereas here, these are the ones that open are brightly open, and they've got, you see, I don't know if you can see the stamens on that, which are perfect for a bee or wasp to come along. So I would you'd be looking for all of that information. I'm obviously not doing a reading for anyone, so it's really hard to kind of put out fake information, but you would want to say it's hierarchical. If someone was asking who's involved, then you would count these stems. I'd go for the main ones, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And actually the ones at the top are clustered, and there's actually more in that together. So you would say that actually at the top they're very, if this was a structure to do with a firm, you would say actually the ones at the top are all in it together because they're all pretty much, you can't probably see there, but it's very much in there together. I'll try and take a picture and use that picture of it. But it's very, if you're talking about business, you might say, well, it's yielding a lot, because all these flowers all of these leaves look like they could yield flowers. So it could be the fact that it's very productive, and the person could be productive, or the company could be productive, because you get multiple of these flowers, and you could, as I did, count them. But really that's what you're doing. You're looking at the flower. It's kind of in the same way you would work with most things. you're saying, what does this represent? And then if you're working in a mediumistic way, once you're describing connecting to a person or an energy, they would come closer and you get more impressions, but you'd start, it's a bit like an entryway into communicating who's there for you. If you're reading them more psychically, and because I'm not reading these as a plant, meaning I'm not looking to connect to the energy of that plant, I'm looking at what the plant represents more to me. If it was on a tree, you'd probably touch the tree and feel that energy. I'm not doing that so much. But that's kind of a little intro in how I'd start to read this one, and why certain questions you'd go one way or another. So if you were asked whether something would be fruitful, you would say yes, it will be, because if you look at the buds, and you would expect it to be, it's already open, so you'd expect something to have already started, but for it to be very productive. If you were looking to see, is this is this person faithful, you'd probably want to go, or is this person, what is this person? If they were single and you were looking at them for a romantic point, you might say, they're probably, very, there's lots of people. These represented other people in their romantic life. You might want to say, well, they're probably a bit of a player, or they're polyamorous or whatever, but there's lots of people involved in this. Same with the situation. There's lots of people involved, and some are very connected to each other. So really it's just about how you apply this. So hopefully it's a very quick video, but hopefully you will understand this. If you have any more questions, let me know.